Establishing a permanent human presence on Mars is the activation of a system that has been running for decades. Historical progress is often framed as the work of isolated geniuses. This perspective obscures the true nature of development. These minds functioned as nodes in a highly complex, interconnected architecture. Removing a single signal fractures the entire framework required to sustain life beyond Earth. These functional blueprints, a system we call the continuum, were engineered over an entire century of foundational Black innovation and discovery. Understanding this system requires looking past traditional biographies to see these individuals as components of a larger engineering intelligence. Energy, navigation, ecology. To see how we get off this planet, we have to look to the start of the architecture, the biological foundation. In 1951, Henrietta Lacks entered a Johns Hopkins hospital under the restrictive systemic conditions of Jim Crow, Virginia. During her treatment, her cells were taken without her knowledge. Those cells, known as HeLa, multiplied with a resilience never before seen in a laboratory. They became the first immortal human cell line, forming the backbone of modern biological research. Before human astronauts ever reached orbit, HeLa cells were sent into space to endure extreme radiation and microgravity. They provided the first evidence that human biology could survive the transition to a celestial environment. Henrietta Lacks represents the biological proof of concept. Her cells demonstrated that human life could adapt and persist beyond its native terrestrial boundaries. Biological persistence is only the first step. To move through the void, a system must turn infinite uncertainty into precise mathematical calculation. Katherine Johnson provided that precision. When NASA prepared to launch John Glenn into orbit, the mission's success rested on her ability to manually verify complex orbital mechanics that even early computers struggled to process reliably. This framework was expanded by Dorothy Vaughan's mastery of early computer programming and the mathematical modeling of Gladys West, whose work transformed the unknown cosmos into a predictable, navigable grid. They established the mathematical rigor required to navigate the high-stakes variables of a journey off-world. Beyond navigation, a journey into space faces the immediate threat of resource depletion. Survival requires a shift from planetary domination to a delicate biological balance. George Washington Carver understood this balance. His work in nitrogen restoration and crop rotation established the fundamental concepts of regenerative, closed-loop ecosystems, the exact logic required for long-term survival in space. This logic extends to the preservation and protection systems designed by Frederick McKinley Jones, who pioneered mobile refrigeration, and Garrett Morgan, who engineered early atmospheric filtration. Together, these innovations provided the core principles: regeneration, preservation, and protection, necessary to maintain life within the hostile vacuum of space. A theoretical architecture requires modern operators to execute the mission parameters. Victor Glover, the pilot of Artemis II, represents the tip of this execution spear. His role is the realization of a pipeline that includes historical pioneers, like Ed Dwight, who broke ground as America's first Black astronaut candidate. Modern engineers are now integrating these historical systems with autonomous robotics and human-machine collaboration to finalize the survival architecture. These professionals are conducting a survival system that has been in motion for over a century. A self-sustaining habitat on the Martian surface is the outcome of this system's long-term logic. This mission carries the cumulative weight of the integrated system we have assembled here. Survival in the void relies on an unbroken chain of cellular endurance, mathematical calculation, ecological balance, and execution. Every modern requirement for deep space habitation maps back to these specific nodes. Ecology flows from Carver. Calculation flows from Johnson. Execution flows through Glover. Viewed as a whole, these contributions form a single, living architecture of survival. The blueprint for our future in the stars was already written into the system. It was always here.